Share some.
Good morning, one and all of you, and thanks a lot, Gaurav, to include you in your awesome course. We all know that zonular dialysis could definitely be a catastrophic event in a routine conduct of phacoemulsification, and I'm going to be showing some simple videos wherein probably some of you would have thought that was there a need to place a CTI, would have done without it, but I felt that there was a role in each of these situations. Going on to the first case, this was a traumatic cataract, and the main message here, these are all simple videos, main message is that we need to make a small rhexis because the peripheral capsule tends to be quite mobile when there is a zonular dialysis. So because of this, if you in case there's always a tendency for the rhexis to extend, and if there is an extension, then you would not be able to use any of your capsule tension devices. Hydrodissection has to be complete. The nucleus tends to sink in this lax bag, and if the hydrodissection is not good, then if you rotate the nucleus, you would increase the area of dialysis. And more importantly, the nucleus rotation and the IOL implantation are the most critical steps where the mechanical force imparted is significant to increase the dialysis. You can see it's best to insert the CTR through the side port because the anterior chamber is formed, and the area of zonular dialysis would not increase because it increases with shallow unit AC. And see how it is gently tucked into the bag, because there's no point if it impinges on the angle, because the role of the CTR is to buttress the bag and circularize the bag. This is a moderately dense cataract, but because of the lax capsule, it's preferable to operate in the pupillary plane, and especially when you come to the last fragment and the nucleus bulb is gone, there's a tendency for the posterior capsule to trample into the phacoprobe, so you need to be cautious and even lower your parameters when doing. The main challenge or the main limitation as far as implanting a CTR is removing the cortex, because the CTR tends to pin the cortex into the fornices, so you have to be very zealous and gentle and use tangential force to remove it, because as it is, there's a tendency for these zonal dialyzed bag to go in for a contracture, so it's very important that you remove all the cortical fragment so that you do not aggravate any other cause for lens proliferation. These are two videos which I'm showing simultaneously. I would say it was more like a prophylactic measure why a CTR was used. The first case was one of a premium IOL where a restore was planned. The second case, as you can see, is a colobome of the iris with zonular weakness. The message here is that you need to go and strip the cortex last in the area of the dialysis before removing and inject the CTR. Here an injectable CTR is placed. Here you can see a small area of dialysis has been created, but I'm doing a PC polish, the bag looks stable, everything looks alright, not even a flutter, there's no vitreous prolapse. You might feel that you could ignore the small area of dialysis by implanting the planning to keep the haptic in the direction. But I feel that any small dialysis needs to be addressed because it could later come on with an asymmetric contracture, and more so with premium IOLs when it's critical that you have a round circularized bag. Injecting a CTR is absolutely mandatory. This is again a small message here. What you can see is there is a zonular dialysis here and small amount of vitreous presenting. You can see that the pupil is peaked here. You can see the vitreous fan coming in. We all know that if you have a rhexis extension or if there's a PCRN, there's no way you would implant a CTR. But here a CTR is being implanted because it appears as if the vitreous is presenting from the area of the small dialysis, and by implanting the CTR you are able to push back the vitreous, and little bit of vitreous which presents you need to keep going back and removing it. As you can see that you would feel that you have done the cortical aspiration, you would even go and implant the lens. And again an element of doubt that there's little peaking of the pupil. You should not hesitate but do a good job of vitrectomy, because even little bit of vitreous in the anterior chamber could trigger off an inflammatory reaction. This was another case of a traumatic cataract. Actually there was no phacodonosis, and I started the case feeling that it was just a routine cataract. But you will see that there's a little pseudoelasticity in these cases, and there's a difficulty in doing the rhexis, so aim for a smaller rhexis. But as I was doing the phacoemulsification, the nucleus rotation and all was possible, so I was feeling that it was just imagination on my part. But when I split the nucleus, I feel the nucleus fragments are sinking into the bag, which you can see in the lax bag. But then there was this followability of the nucleus, so again I felt maybe I was wrong. There was a tendency for the anterior chamber to collapse, and somehow I was not feeling very comfortable about the way it was. And you know, as you keep on doing with the dialyzed bag, you're only increasing the area of dialysis. But notice here that when I'm removing the cortex, notice those microstriae which are coming onto the bag. This would be seen only in the lax bag. So I think I should have put that CTR right in the beginning. So anyway, I go in now through the side port and insert the CTR. I always feel going into the side port is more ideal than going into the main port, because you distort the wound and shallow the AC, and there's always a tendency for the dialysis to increase. And you have to, I always use a second instrument to see that it gets tucked into the bag. And then it's a routine process of a gentle removal, stripping of the cortex, which is the main challenge, and then going on to implanting the lens. This was again a case of a pediatric cataract. Again, just a very small dialysis. There's nothing challenging in the case I'm showing, but the multiple areas where you need to implant. The two challenges in a pediatric cataract is, of course, you need to be very critical about getting a round rhexis here. The capsules are elastic, the sclera is not rigid, and there's a positive vitreous pressure. So there's always a tendency when you're making the rhexis that, one, it's difficult to create a rhexis, and you have to keep going back and re-grasping the rhexis as you go on. It's ideal to use a high viscosity OVD, and good hydrodissection is all very, very critical when you have even a small dialysis as this. But because the dialysis is small, there is no extension. I'm not implanting a CTR. I'm going on to the phacoemulsification, because definitely with a CTR in place, sometimes it gets difficult. If the area of dialysis was a little big, I would have even thought of using a capsule hook to allow me to complete the surgery and then implant a CTR in these pediatric cases. And then you can see when the polishing is being done, still the area of dialysis has not increased. But this was a case of a Marfan syndrome, and you know there's a situation of progressive zonulopathy. So I would not hesitate to implant a CTR, although the area of dialysis is very small, which is what I have done, and then have implanted a single piece IOL. Moving on to these were two iatrogenic situations which were created. The case was actually complete. The IOL was already inserted in this place. The viscoelastic was being removed when I created a dialysis in this area with vitreous presenting. And in this case, I wouldn't believe how I managed to create a dialysis. So in this particular situation, what you primarily need to do is inflate the bag, reposition the haptic in the direction of the dialysis. And in this situation, I've used injectable CTR, because the air bubble is disturbing the vision. But you have to ensure that the CTR slips into the bag. And once it slips into the bag, you have to nicely, use a viscoelastic and then reposition the lens. And if there is vitreous presenting, go back and do the vitrectomy. In this particular situation, you can see that while doing the capsule polishing, I've gone and created a small rent, because at that point of time we actually go on to the next case and we forget that we still have a few steps left here. So in this particular case, what I would do is just reposition the haptic in the direction of the dialysis, as you can see, and then reposition it, and then insert a CTR, so that even though this was something unwarranted, but these things can happen in any of our hands. So at any point of time when you see a dialysis, you should not hesitate to place a CTR. I'm going on to the next case. This is how it was being implanted. This is the last of the case, wherein sometimes we are not adequately judged. The area of dialysis is small, but you have just used a CTR and not gone on to the CT segment, Sioni ring, or any scleral support. And the patient comes in many years later with a dialyzed bag, with a dislocated lens. At that point of time, you should be absolutely unhesitant to go ahead and remove it. And it is not just removing the IOL alone and looking at the different option, but it's important that you try to locate the CTR and remove it, which is what is being done in this case. And the different options which open here is a scleral fixated IOL, a glued IOL, or iris fixated IOL. And in this particular case, I had managed it with a iris clip lens. You can see as you remove the last cortical remnant, the CTR also comes out. So we should not give up on it. You can even use iris hooks to locate the CTR and then definitely go ahead and remove it. And once this is done, this iris clip lens is in the DMMA material, 9mm overall length with a 5.5mm optic. You make 2 enclavation side ports, and you just stabilize the iris clip lens and hold it against the posterior stroma, and then nick the iris tissue so that it gets gripped into the iris claw. So these are all different simple examples where a role of CTR comes to play. Thank you very much.